Welcome, Mattias here. Today let's play with the rhythm and do some rhythmic sound design with a plugin called Snap Heap. If you follow my channel, you know that I often use Bitwig Studio when I want to create electronic music. Bitwig has a modular system and it makes it perfect for creating these evolving and beautiful soundscapes. The other day I was working on this chill hybrid track in Logic Pro, and while Logic is a great DAW, it's slightly limited when it comes to modulation, especially compared to something like Bitwig. So I thought, why not give Snap Heap a try? In short, Snap Heap is a modular snap-in host effects plugin for creating effect chains. So you can create anything from parallel to serial effect chains. And as you can see in the current preset here, we have a stereo effect, and you have a gate effect, we have a delay effect, formant filter, and also a distortion effect. And at the bottom section you have the modulators. And currently in this preset we have two LFOs, which modulates different parameters on the effect plugins. So you can create these really evolving and organic textures with Snap Heap. First out today I want to give you some free plugin tips, and that is to check out the Kilohearts Essentials collection. If we look at their website you can see it's an extensive collection. I think it's 30 effect plugins in basically any type of plugin category. So there's choruses, compressors. And the great thing about these is that you can use them within the Snap Heap snap-in host plugin, and also within the multipass plugin, and also in phase plant. So make sure you check out the Kilohearts free plugins collection. Right, time for some rhythmic sound design with the Snap Heap plugin. So for this track I recorded a shaker with a business card, just like replacing a hi-hat. So basically just making a simple pattern. And I wanted to make that pattern more complex, and you can make that with delays. But I wanted to have only occasional trills and occasional flams. So that's where the Snap Heap plugin comes into play. So without the Snap Heap plugin we have just a simple pattern. And let's activate Snap Heap. You can hear we have occasional trioles and a bit more stereo spread on the sound. So let's take a look at how we can recreate this effect. Let's open up a new instance of the Snap Heap plugin. And as mentioned, at the top here we have the effects row, and at the bottom we have the modulators. We begin by adding a stereo effect. So we just press any of the empty slots here. Let's begin in this first serial buzz row and insert a stereo effect. And with this effect we can pan the sound left to right. So let's add a modulator so we can have this randomly panning to the left and right side. We press the modulators and add a random modulator. Bump the rate, so it's a really high rate. And we can press this set modulation target button. And add this to modulate the panning. So the movement is a little bit drastic between the left and right, so we can add a bit of smoothness here, so the transition between the different points in the modulation is more smooth. Right, so maybe we can also add a gate, so we can get a tighter initial transient. So we remove a little bit of the room noise. Now when the stereo and the gate effects are finished, we can just close this down and minimize them and go to the second serial buzz row and add maybe the delay. And we need to set the delay to sync to our DAW tempo and make it triplets, like so. So now we can effectively add triplets whenever we want here in this performance. To make this easier to control, we can actually make this a parallel bus. To do that, we can click this little processing button, and that turns these two buses into parallel buses. So that means that these processings are happening in parallel. So now we can add some effects to only the delay taps. So let's add some overdrive and distortion. And maybe an equalizer, a 3-band EQ, and get rid of a little bit of the highs and the lows and only focus on the mid-range. To wrap the sound up, we will add a final effect in serial bus 2. So press this slot and add the formant filter. So now we can control the vowel of the sound and make it pop more in the mix. So let's unsolo and listen back with all the sounds, and we can now control exactly where to place this sound in the pocket of the mix, so to speak. So the final thing I did on my sound was to add a second modulator here, so we can control the mix value here to introduce the triplets only on the second half of the rhythm. So let's add a second LFO. We'll add just the regular LFO and select, instead of pyramid, we can select the square and move the face like so. And we need to change the hertz here to sync, so we sync this change exactly to the tempo. And let's attach the modulation to control the mix value of the parallel bus 1B. Maybe up to 50%. So now the effect, the triplets, are happening on every second beat. We can just change this to 8 notes. And there we have it, a nice, sweet triplet effect happening occasionally in a rhythm. And let's finalize this by adding a little bit of reverb. To place the sound more in a room, and then let's unmute and hear the magic happen.